Living in Thailand sounds like a dream, right? Palm trees, fresh coconut water, cheap food, beaches, nightlife, fast internet, a laid-back lifestyle, and my beautiful Thai girlfriend. But here's the real question. Does that dream last 3 months, 5 years, or even 10 years? I've spent over a decade here, first as a traveler, then as an expat, and eventually as a local. And what I've learned is this: Thailand can be paradise, but it can also test you that travel brochures never told you. The first 3 months, almost everyone falls in love, but after 5 years, that's when the magic feelings start to fade. And 10 years, most foreigners don't even make it that far. In this video, I'll break down exactly what happens. You'll see the honeymoon phase, the hidden costs, my own first-hand run-ins with corruption, and the expat traps that slowly drain your savings if you're not ready. If you're thinking about retiring, working, staying long-term, or even looking for romance here, this video might save you from the same mistakes that cost other expats everything. So, let's start with the first stage. I call this the honeymoon phase. The airplane is landing and you look out the window and see the streets and the palm trees. The countdown, 3, 2, 1, touchdown. You walked out, you feel the intense humidity. Those magic feelings, it never gets old. Years of dreaming, and here I am, living my dreams. I had a big pot of money in my bank account, and everything feels cheap and new. Every day feels like an adventure. At this stage, I didn't notice the small annoyances yet. I'm too busy enjoying the mango smoothies, cheap massages, and the freedom from the 9 to 5. I stayed a few weeks in Bangkok, then I went to Hua Hin, then Isan, Chiang Mai, and Chiang Rai. Island hopping in the Gulf of Thailand. My goal was to check out each place and see where I would like to buy a home or condo. Later in the video, I'll let you know which one of these places I would end up living long-term after 10 years of living here. Challenges of the first months were the language barrier, figuring out prices, and the occasional tourist tax. Getting used to the heat, humidity, traffic, and pollution in Bangkok, and getting my visas. So, after 3 months, Thailand still feels like an adventure, a playground. It was exciting, fun, but the real test comes with time. At 5 months, I was still in that honeymoon phase. Every temple felt magical. Every plate of pad thai tasted like the best thing I'd ever eaten. But after 5 years, that's when I stopped eating pad thai. The honeymoon phase is over, and you start to see Thailand for what it really is. Both paradise and you see the problems. By then, I knew where to find the best street food stalls and which ones gave me food poisoning. I learned how to deal with landlords, soy dogs, and even the occasional scam, but not yet corruption. At this stage, I wasn't a tourist anymore, but I do not see myself as an expat. And here's the thing, 5 years is long enough to know whether Thailand is just an adventure or whether it's home. By this point, many people burn out, give up, and leave for all sorts of reasons. Others double down, buy condos, start businesses, settle into retirement, or even get married and have kids. 5 years is when the dream of living in paradise is where you really get tested, and not everyone makes it through. Here's what I mean. By this point, I already had the basics of the language down. Ordering food, chatting with taxi drivers, having a Thai girlfriend, and even joking with locals. I had my routines. I had my favorite noodle stalls, coffee shops, by the way. 7-Eleven coffee is not bad. I found my go-to gym. I even got engaged. But sometimes I start to think, I need to move back home. The cost of living was still much cheaper than in the West, but I started noticing prices creeping up, and I am not making the same kind of money as before. My buying power is reduced since I no longer work with a Western salary. This is where the parts nobody talks about started showing up. There were the Western stereotypes. You're just living in Thailand for cheap beer and young girlfriends. Those can hurt, especially when my life here was much deeper and more complicated than that. But here's the reward. My health was better. I started losing weight and lost 20 pounds. I was eating lighter, moving more, and stress was lower than back home. I enjoyed more freedom. No one breathing down my neck about every little rule. After 5 years, I can say this. Thailand is livable, don't get me wrong. It's great, it's amazing if you have the money, but also, it's not perfect. The real question is, what about after 10 years? As of the time of this upload, I have been here for 10 straight years. Is it still paradise? Or do the cracks start to show? Do I want to leave? This is where the dream becomes forever or totally falls apart. By this point, you've seen beyond the $2 pad Thai, the $15 massages, and the golden temples they show in brochures. The reality after a decade, the expat tax, the visa hurdles, the health risks, the scams, and maybe even corruption from other foreigners, they're all waiting for you. I've lived here long enough to see both sides. People become successful, happy, and there are people completely destroyed. They don't even have the money to fly back home. But the honest truth, after 10 years, most foreigners lose. But the failure rate is there. Only a small percentage, in my opinion, maybe 1 in 5, truly make it work for 10 years. For me, 10 years have been a test of survival and seeing myself making it alone. Thailand feels familiar, but I've also realized I will never be fully part of the system. I still feel like an outsider as I do not speak fluent Thai. I've watched people come with hundreds of thousands in retirement savings, only to leave broke within 3 years. I've seen condos sold at 40% losses just to pay hospital bills. I've seen expats deported overnight after visa rules changed, losing 15 years of life built here. And I've seen marriages failing under cultural differences or expectations, leaving foreigners cut off from their children. Does Thailand feel like home after 10 years? Yes, no, maybe. Even healthcare, which everyone praises, is a double-edged sword. Yes, the hospitals are world-class, but if you don't have the right medical insurance or travel insurance, they'll hit you with cash-first policies. $3,000 for a CT scan, $65,000 for heart surgery, pay up front or no treatment. And then there's immigration. After a decade, visas don't get easier, they get harder, especially for low-income people. Retirement requirements keep rising, deposits in Thai banks, mandatory health insurance, and background checks. For those who have tried building businesses, I've seen it all. The 49% foreign, 51% Thai rule means you never really own anything. I know foreigners who built restaurants, gyms, and companies only to be voted out by their Thai partners. Does it happen all the time? No, not all the time. As for me, my time here is ticking. I'd be lucky if I make it past another 2 more years. Then comes the corruption. I finally experienced this for the first time in my life and lived through one. I never met anyone like this in my life, and it is not one person. They see you as an asset to squeeze money. They are like the tuk-tuk or non-meter taxi drivers with a PhD, with more money and loyal staff. I have to admit, they are pretty clever, and their tricks are impressive once you fully understand them. This might be an entire video later. As for my number 1 spot to live long term, or a place where I would buy a home, it is Chiang Mai. But after living there through 2 burning seasons, my lungs just couldn't take it anymore. It doesn't matter how much you love a place. If you can't breathe, you can't live there. It's too bad because I absolutely love Chiang Mai. The coffee shops, the mountain views, the slower pace of life, the vibe, the climate, it's incredible. But the smoke changes everything. After a few weeks of burning season, the air quality gets so bad that it feels like you're taking years off your life just by staying. For me, that was a deal breaker. So my second choice was one of the islands in the Gulf of Thailand. Paradise, beaches, sunsets, island vibes, but long term? Again, the story of my life, my budget wouldn't allow it. Living on an island isn't as cheap as people think. Everything costs more, groceries, rent, even basic stuff, because everything has to be shipped in. And that leaves me with the third option, one of the smaller coastal cities just a few hours from Bangkok. Not Pattaya, not Hua Hin, but smaller, quieter cities where I can be close to the ocean and still have access to Bangkok. So that is my number one spot in Thailand, but what about you? Where would you pick? Is it worth staying 10 years? For me, yes, but only if you adapt. Thailand rewards patience and self-control. These past 10 years, every day was like a Friday. And it went by so fast, like the blink of an eye. Next thing I know, I am middle-aged. Would you last 10 years here? Let me know in the comments.